Hello and welcome to the Cornerstone Counselling Not podcast. This is a video, as you know, because you clicked on it. I am waffling because I haven't prepared anything I'm going to say right now. So let's all
And I'm Chris.
strap in. Yes, and that's Chris. That's Chris. On my screen, he's up there, but he might be there or there or there. And I've got to stop looking at myself. That's another thing.
You get quite dumbfounded with technology, mate, don't you?
I'm very easily distracted by shiny things that I don't understand how they work. So welcome everybody to the Cornerstone. I can't even speak now. The Cornerstone Counselling podcast / video. This will be our normal amount of waffling and nonsense that we're going to be talking about for the next few minutes. I don't know. We haven't even discussed how long it's going to be, have we? Just
nothing on the telly, is there? So it doesn't really matter.
No, that's true. Yeah, so the next 4 hours of your life. Strap in, guys.
Maybe that's what, on a lot of the websites now, like the BBC Sport website, they're rerunning classic commentaries of various sporting events. So maybe we need to rerun classic therapy sessions in our own mind and then just play that. There's no confidentiality issue there whatsoever.
Yeah, no, that'd be fine. That'd be absolutely fine. What is the problem? So I suppose today we were thinking about the whole, as it stands right now, it is the 3rd of June. 3rd of June? Yes.
3rd of June, yeah.
To be fair, I have no idea what day it is.
It's Wednesday.
All running into one.
It's that Christmas and New Year period.
Yeah. It's like
for 10 weeks.
Yeah. So 3rd of June
2020.
2020, and as it stands right now, we are easing out of lockdown. It feels like collectively the country's putting a toe in the water, going, what's it like out there? And I suppose we're there thinking about when
some people have put enough in the water to go all the way up to Durham and back.
Yeah. Thought we didn't do politics on the podcast. Oh no, politics. We very clearly do politics on the podcast. Okay, of course we do. Yeah. So anyway, some people have jumped in.
I'm just enjoying this being able to throw you off when people can actually see your reactions rather than just being silent and in the room. I've completely forgotten what I was talking about. Oh yes, that's it. So people are going out maybe for the first time in 10 weeks, like the people who are shielding can finally go out, potentially once a day. And children go back to school.
Children go back some children go. Let's not talk about that. That feels like it's a hot potato there. Some children are going back to school. Children can go back to school if they want, I suppose, is another way of phrasing it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know? And so it's about when the normal isn't normal, I suppose, is what we were thinking about. When things that should be normal don't feel normal. And I suppose one of the reasons why that is so weird, or, I'm quite a big fan of kind of like, horror movies, and all those sorts of things. And some of the best sort of movies are when they take something that's normal, but just make it slightly weird. And suppose that's makes it awakes something in us going, oh, doesn't feel okay, it doesn't sit well with me. And so that's what I've been thinking about, that kind of, how people are now going back. And it can be just little things, like things have changed. I may have been shielding in my house, or I may have been stuck in my house for working from home for a large portion of my time. I get in the car and I drive into town and I'm like, oh, that's different and that's different and that. And when did that change? And what's happened here? All that sort of stuff. I suppose over to you, Chris. I ran out of things to say. I tell you, my brain just went, no. So, yeah.
But you ran out about 3 minutes ago, didn't you? Let's be honest. Yeah. I think you're right there. There's that sense of like some sort of dystopian reality that we're living in now. Is that everything, like you say, slightly off beam, but no one really has a measure of it. And there is that thing, I suppose, about normal. What is normal? Hey, it's a great phrase, isn't it, in therapy, even when things are normal, to define what normal is for an individual.
Yeah.
And here we are now, and I've found myself using the phrase new normal for a lot of people.
Okay.
And I think it's felt like we're forever coming into land at it, because the runway just gets that little bit further and further away before we can actually touch down and go, oh, okay, this is normal now. This is what this is like. And clearly, looking at the science rather than perhaps the political message, we're a long way away from normal as we know it ever turning back up again. So, well, in the near future, I can't see that we're going to be seeing clients face to face for a good few months yet to protect clients, the next client who comes in the room as well. We just don't know. So I can see, and I think I'm seeing it with clients that I speak to now, that lack of secure base. And I know we've talked about this before when we were talking about sort of the Brexit stuff and how politically unstable the country felt, when there was a sense of the institutions weren't doing the jobs the institutions should be effectively doing at that time, that it impacts people's attachment to society and what goes on around. And I think that breeds civil unrest and all that sort of stuff in exaggerated cases, or America. But what you also kind of see, I suppose, is that people are going to really struggle to kind of get back on top of things, to feel in control, to regain that secure base. So irrespective of political opinions, irrespective of facts going on outside, for all of us, our foundations have been wobbled in some way, shape or form, whether that is direct contact with the disease from a first person perspective, whether it's family impact, whether it's a death in the family, whether it's knowing someone, whether it's having to social distance. There's that whole spectrum. It's impacted every single one of us, and it's not going away anytime soon.
Yes, absolutely. And I suppose there has felt like there's been a rush to get back to that normal place. There have been lots of people who, and I suppose I wonder whether that's part of that wider psyche in the UK, to be like, okay, let's get back to normal. Let's get back to normal as quickly as we possibly can, because there's safety, there's security there. There's that, and I suppose, like thinking about that, like, I suppose like I'm trying to think about when was it last normal? And again, what is normal? What does normal look like?
Yeah,
that it's different for everybody. But when was the last time that the UK felt normal? And I'm not going to say 2012, because that for me was when the last time it felt normal. Or was it 2000? Yeah, 2012 was when it was like, okay, the UK is amazing.
Yeah,
but let's not get political.
But there's an interesting point
in terms, that kind of thing.
Yeah, some of the things we just just like spew out political frustrations about it. But an interesting point, a lot of people kind of categorized what we're going through and talked about blitz spirit in terms of how we can get through this. And I kind of struggle with that concept in two areas, I suppose, because I can't imagine that when war broke out, everybody immediately did as they were told by the government. There would have been those people who were either dissenters or rebels or whatever, and didn't pay attention to air raid sirens or whatever it might be. But then there's the other side of like the British public psyche, which perhaps is what's coming out now. Is I remember, I forget where I was. It must have been something like Flambards down in Cornwall as a kid in their Britain in Blitz exhibition. Or a line sticks with me, where over the tannoy it was talked about how a shop had a sign, their open and close sign, and the shop had been bombed overnight by the Germans. But in the morning they still opened, and the sign had been altered to read "more open than usual." And I mean, I was only a little kid when I heard that, but it's kind of really stuck with me. It's like that, we're on this, we're going to get through this. And I think some of that frustration is going to start driving people through. I mean, it's solidarity. There'll be a sense of unity in that. There'll be a sense of community spirit. But I think people can go too far, perhaps, in that sense as well, and become frustrated with where things are and impatient for change.
Yeah.
And I think for us all, that could be a concern.
Yeah. And I think, like that frustration, I was about to go down the whole Yoda route. Frustration leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Something like that. I can never remember that quote. It annoys me. But it is. It's that kind of like the frustration of being told you can't do this. Yeah. Potentially, I want to do it even more. I want to do it even more now than and having those freedoms that we're used to taken away from us for the safety of others that potentially. And again, I was thinking about this earlier as well. Actually, it's like the actions that have been taken and the kind of the safety measures that have been put in place protect everybody, and even if it doesn't affect me, it's still like people are being protected that I will never see.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a weird concept to go, actually, the things that it's thinking about, that kind of preventative rather than the kind of reactive sort of stuff. We're trying to prevent the spread. So you can't actually see that because nothing happens. If I've prevented the spread of the virus, nothing will happen.
There's no certificate drops through your door, or
no, well done, yay,
from the Queen.
It's just like nothing happens, and it's like, okay, well that's good, but also that potentially leads to kind of frustrations and kind of all sorts of thought, and the brain fills in gaps, and it doesn't always fill in the best gaps.
But we've got to watch out for that frustration, I think, because that's really important. There's frustration on like a civil level, I guess, as in we might go out and about and have a Barney with somebody out in the street or whatever it might be, but there's also that kind of like internal, for every house, what is the frustration of not being able to live in the way that we defined as normal, what's that impact like on individuals in a particular house? You don't know. We don't know. And I think, kind of as we were alluding to in some of the meetings we were in the other day, the concern is going to be when schools go back, what types of referrals inbound to therapists going to see, what level of social services involvement is there going to need to be in families, because people couldn't cope with the normal for right now.
And I think it does feel like there is a kind of almost, so people often, I've heard people talk, everybody's talking about the second wave, this potential second wave that might happen, but I think there's always that potential for other waves as well, so kind of looking further down the road, if there is a second wave, okay, there's a second wave, we'll deal with it, but potentially it feels like there's a third wave of mental health issues that are going to come in as well. Once, however far down the road, when we're kind of, past all this stuff, or even maybe when we're not past this stuff and we're still in it, it feels like that wave of mental health issues is going to kick. And we're going to be having this influx in the UK and around the world of people going, I don't know how to cope anymore, or whatever it may be.
You're absolutely right. If you think about it, well, the clue's in the name, isn't it? But the P stands for post in post-traumatic stress disorder. So let's get through the trauma, all the adrenaline, everything subsides. And you're like, oh, I can't process any of that. I don't know what to do with that. So I'm going to turn to drink, or I'm going to beat up somebody, or I'm going to do something even more catastrophic than that. There are risks that are going to come. And certainly for those people who are engaged in frontline key work, you could argue that they are at the greater risk of being exposed to more trauma, which is, I guess, why we've put that NHS check-in service in, and we're working with the community counselling to do the same for all key workers. So, and it's interesting, I suppose, because from the NHS side, the uptake, it hasn't been sort of like massive. We're not having a massive influx of people saying, I can't cope, because they're coping, and it's the worry comes afterwards.
Yeah, and I think that's part of that NHS kind of, I don't know, mindset. I'm quite sure what to call it, but that kind of like, people
the culture,
don't go, people go into the NHS because they care and they want to look after people. You don't become a doctor because you're like, oh, quite fancy the wages, because technically the wages aren't great for the number of hours you work.
Feels like a line in the book I've read.
At the Adam Kay book, it was, he said he worked out that the parking meter was getting paid more than he was.
That's right.
And actually, it's like, people go into nursing, caring, doctoring. Doctoring's not a word, but you go into that, into medicine and stuff, and caring and all that sort of stuff, because they care, not for the glamour, because it's not a glamorous job. You don't do it because it's glamorous. And I think people like that have a tendency to go, well, there's a job in front of me that needs to get sorted. COVID hasn't gone away. It's still there. People are still ill. People are still recovering. People are still getting sick. People are still dying. That needs to be sorted out. Once that's gone, that is when I think you'll get a lot of people who've been going through this who stop, because it's like, actually that's gone now, and all that stuff kind of catches up with them, you know.
Yeah.
And,
so their
and
normal is to be intense, involved, you know, viewing stuff that they might, I guess, like we talk about 10-year floods, I guess there might be some kind of similar idea in sort of medicine where you expect to come across this sort of thing once in a career type thing, but it's quite a long period of time, isn't it, going on?
yeah, potentially. I mean, I haven't spoke to any doctors about this, so I'm just kind of like, you know, I wouldn't know about that.
Just imagine you are a doctor and give me your authentic comment.
Well, I would presume
is that what doctors do, mate?
Yeah. Yes, that's how I imagine doctors work. It's 5 years to go.
Yeah.
Well, that's the difference between a doctor and a psychologist is doctor, psychologist, you know,
and mechanic. Yeah.
Well, the mechanic normally has the.
Going to cost you.
Very rare that you get a psychologist go, "Oh," just on that. So, massive tangent. Anybody who knows me, massive tangents that I go on.
Yeah.
I've also forgotten what we were talking about.
You just talk about doctors.
Genuinely forgot. Oh yes, that's it. You know, I think that, I suppose it's not to say that every doctor, every medical person, every carer will have to go into therapy, because I think there's quite a lot of people who go through traumas and go through stuff, and they're like, actually, I need time to rest. I need time to recover from this, because this has been hard. You know, potentially by the end of this, it could be months and months of doctors working really long shifts in stressful places, watching their patients die from diseases that, or you know, the shouldn't be dying of, or whatever, you know, and so there's that. It's not just the physical; it's the emotional drain as well. And so there's all that sort of stuff, and you know, and that's not to, you know, not even considering the fact that there are people out there who have made massive sacrifices through this time, like huge massive sacrifices, and the impact of coming to terms with that, you know, is going to take time. So, you know, I think there is this things, you know, it's there, it's potentially on its way, and I suppose it's about taking, for me, I suppose the one thing that I'm kind of talking to people about is being kind to yourself, you know, because like, we can only do what we can do in a situation. We can't mend everything. We can't. Sometimes there are days where I won't be able to cope with something today. I just can't do it. No matter what I try, no matter what tricks I pull out of my brain, tricks out of my bag, nothing's working. And so today is going to be a rubbish day, and I'm probably not going to cope very well with this day. But that's okay, because tomorrow will be a different day.
Yep.
You know, and this right here, this that I'm feeling right here, that can change, because I haven't felt like this forever, and I won't feel like this forever. I have the capacity to change into something else and for it to pass.
I think that's really key, isn't it? It's that sense of prevailing sort of impression, I guess, with a lot of clients talking about at the moment, that sense of stuck, you know, and therapy is often about stuck in a situation, in the context, isn't it? But we're stuck in ways now that we feel we have no influence over, and you know, by and large, that's right. We are stuck in exactly that way. So it's okay to be not okay. And I know that's cliche, and I know it's kind of, you know, probably written on blurry background images all over Instagram and all that sort of stuff. But it's true. You know, it's okay to not be okay, because tomorrow you might be okay. But absolutely, that sense of it's okay to reach out. It's okay to reach out for support. There's therapy options available in the town. Hey, you could argue now that a bit like Trotter's Independent Traders, we are a truly global brand, because we could insurance dependent work with clients from all around the world. So.
Yeah, and time zone dependent as well, you know.
Yeah, I suppose. If a client doesn't mind getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, that's okay, isn't
it? Yeah, you got to GMT. But yeah, I think, you know, whatever happens, it feels like this is a moment of change, and that is scary. Human beings don't like change. We don't like
not
change.
en masse. No.
You know, the most common, there aren't that many. I don't feel there are that many sayings within the counselling world that are like always true, but there's one that's definitely true. The best predictor of future behaviour is past behaviour, and so human beings are super predictable. We resist change. You know, if you know someone really, really well, you can predict what they're going to do with 99.9% accuracy. And so, but change means I have to change my behavior. I have to stop doing what I've done, what I've always done. And that's scary. That kind of sits in existential threat territory at its roots. And so we resist it. So this idea of like, there is big global mass change happening now, you know, it is terrifying. And you know, there are definitely people who are kind of feeling that and reacting to that and going, well, what sort of world am I going to come out to? You know, what's the world going to look like next year? You know, the world is flooded with memes at the moment of like, you know, oh, I'm waiting for Godzilla to come out of the sea, or I'm waiting for the meteorite to come. You know, what's going to be next?
Murder hornets.
Oh yeah, murder hornets in Australia, not in Australia, America. Well, America, like,
yeah,
that whole thing. And stuff happening in Hong Kong. Oh, it's just pick a country. There's something going on in it right now, and it's scary and terrifying. But change is also can be really good. You know, take the caterpillar metaphor is quite a good one. You know, that the caterpillar goes around, eats things, goes into a pupae thing. Interesting fact about a caterpillar that I never knew is that it completely dissolves inside of the pupae. Like it just melts and becomes like a soup and then reforms into the caterpillar. Nature's awesome.
They don't explain that in that way in the Hungry Caterpillar.
No, they don't at all. But yeah,
eats and then changes.
It turns into a soup. Like, whoa.
It's been a long day, mate.
I'm on a spinny thing. So yeah, sorry.
Have you literally put your laptop on a lazy Susan?
Yeah. I'm sat at. Shall I show you? No, I won't show you behind the magic. But yeah.
No, don't destroy the magic.
No, don't destroy the illusion.
It'll ruin everything for your clients. All that. Yeah.
Hey, guys watching. What could I possibly have my laptop on?
But there's some dim sum on the other side, right?
Yeah, a little competition for everybody there. Yeah, can I have a check, please? Thank you. You're right. It's been a long day. It's late, and I've been up since 3:00 this morning. So you know.
Do you think we've covered off what we need to cover off?
I think that's probably the end, isn't it? Really. Let's you know, end on a joke. I don't know.
If we're talking about rotating laptops, we've probably got to the end of what we
Yeah,
need
I think
to talk
we might
about.
have done. I think we might have kind of got to the end of that one.
So let's just kind of like remind people that it's okay to not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to not know which way feels up at the moment, because not many people do actually.
Yeah.
And if someone's projecting they've got it all together, they probably haven't got it all together. There are probably some areas, and you know, that they're feeling a bit anxious, a bit worried about. We're all navigating towards this new normal together. We don't know what it's going to look like, so that can be scary. It's important to know that there are support mechanisms in place around to talk about your fears, talk about your worries, talk about your concerns with mental health professionals, if that's what you choose to do. We're available. Our website is cornerstonesw.co.uk. I think because this is a video, I might find a way to put it up on the screen in a minute and do it. I know, all mod cons. We've got some resources, there's podcast, and there's other videos and all that sort of stuff. I have to do another one now, mate. Thanks very much.
If I just point to places, does that mean you don't know how to like?
I'll try my best. Jump onto our site, have a look at the various different resources we've got. If you're interested in therapy, both of us actually, in a way we didn't think we would be at this point in time. We are both pretty fully booked. So by all means, do make contact. We have a network of therapists that we work with. If we can't work with you, we'll be able to put you in contact with somebody who can. So don't worry about that. The most important thing is that you reach out, you make contact with somebody if indeed you are struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it, mate, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I can't think of anything else that we need to add on to the end of that, other than stay safe, uh, be sensible, look after yourselves. Don't beat. I say don't beat yourself up. You're a human being. You're going to beat yourself up. Try to not beat yourself up too much, because things are hard and stuff gets better.
Yep, like it. Cool. Let's sign off. I'm going to go and have some cheese.
Cool. Sounds good.
All right, mate. Take care.
Bye.